Hello friends, welcome to Unacademy. Myself Vijay Gupta, and today we'll be discussing the topic on concepts in physiology with respect to calculations in physiology. And in today's session in calculations in physiology, we'll be discussing the calculations in CVS, cardiovascular system. So let us try to understand the importance of calculations in physiology. Remember, just a second, let me just update the session so that we will have an idea of whether I am online or not. Just let me check all the connections yet. If you are online, kindly send me a hi or hello. Yes, let me just check whether all the things are working fine. Yes, just hold on for a second. Let me check whether all the things are working fine. Great, I am online. So, hello friends, welcome to Unacademy. Just hold on for a second. Let me check whether all the things are working fine. So, in today's session, we'll be discussing the calculations in physiology, and in today's session, we'll be discussing the topic is cardiovascular system. The calculations in cardiovascular system. Let me just have a hi or a hello from all the students who are online right now. As I can see, many students have joined us today, and the topic which we'll be discussing is the cardiac output and also the hemodynamics, like Poiseuille law, Reynolds number, what are the significance, what is the formula used, and what is the significance of those formulas. Hello Lakshmi, nice to see you there. Am I audible and visible? Can I have just reply like, am I audible and visible? Yes, nice to see you Lakshmi. Dr. Lakshmi has joined us. So the slide which I am going to show today will be having some of the very interesting things with respect to cardiovascular system, which will include the flow dynamics, to be more precise the hemodynamics calculation. Yes, so thank you. So let us start with the first slide, and that is the flow, the slide related to flow of the blood in the arterial and vascular tree. The given formula, the formula in front of you, it determines the relationship between the blood flow, that is Q, versus pressure and resistance. It gives us the relationship between blood flow okay, let me just check. Is the slide visible? Is the slide visible to you, Dr. Lakshmi? Yes, now that's fine, great. So the following equation is a very interesting equation. It gives the relationship between the flow of blood through a vessel, which depends upon the pressure resistance across the vessel, the pressure difference, you can say, the difference in the pressure across the vessel, as well as the resistance offered to the blood flow. The resistance always act in opposite direction. This resistance could be because of number one, the flow, whether it is lamina or turbulent? Remember, a turbulent flow offers more resistance. A turbulent flow offers more resistance. Hello, Dr. James. Oh, I think that you are on the slow network. So kindly refresh your phone so that I think the network will get improved. Dr. Lakshmi, is the network good enough at your end? Yes, Dr. Lakshmi. Great, that's nice. So the difference across the vessel with respect to pressure will determine the flow. If there is more pressure gradient, more is the flow. So delta P, the pressure difference or the pressure gradient, will support the flow, whereas resistance will oppose the flow of blood. The diameter of vessel wall, another resistance is diameter of vessel wall. A vessel with smaller diameter offer greater resistance, a vessel with larger diameter offer lesser resistance. Yes, great. Hello, welcome Anastasia, sir. That's nice, Anastasia. That's great. So if you have to understand the flow across a vessel, you have to keep two things in mind: a pressure difference across the end of two ends of the vessel, a capillary or a blood vessel, and the resistance across the blood flow. The resistance depends upon laminar blood flow, turbulent blood flow, diameter of the vessel wall, or you can say viscosity, and also density. More the viscosity or more the density will offer a higher resistance, lesser viscosity offer a lesser resistance. So depending upon these things, we'll be solving out one more problem here. See, arterial pressure is 120 mm of Hg, means we are given two pressure values across an artery and a venous. The arterial pressure is 120 and venous pressure is 20. So delta P is 120 minus 20, which becomes how much? Yes, which is 100 mm of Hg. The pressure gradient is 100 mm of Hg. The flow rate is 500 ml per minute. That is, Q is 500 ml per minute. What you are not given is the resistance, R. So we'll go with the formula. Q is equal to delta P divided by R. So if you want to find the resistance will be delta P divided by Q. The resistance will be how much? Delta P divided by Q, that is flow rate. So 100 mm of Hg divided by 500 ml per minute. So the resistance across this capillary or the vessel will be how much? Can you type the number? Can you type the answer here? What will be the answer? Yes. 0 cancel, 0 cancel, 0 cancel, 0 cancel. 1 upon 5 is 0.2. So the resistance across this vessel is 0.2 mm of Hg per ml per minute. This is the resistance offered by this vessel. Very simple. A resistance is opposing to the flow, the pressure which opposes the flow. So the resistance offered to this vessel is 0.2 mm of Hg per ml per minute of the flow. Yes, so that's very simple. The flow is directly proportional to the pressure difference and inversely proportional to the flow is directly proportional to the pressure difference and inversely proportional to the difference of the resistance. More the resistance, lesser is the flow rate. Lesser the resistance, more is the flow rate. More is the pressure gradient, more is the flow rate. Lesser the pressure gradient, lesser is the flow rate. And across your vascular tree, starting from the left ventricle to the right atrium, I repeat, the pressure difference from left ventricle to the right atrium, the pressure difference, I will just write it down for you all. The pressure difference from left ventricle, okay, I'll let it here. the left ventricle, the pressure difference from left ventricle, which we can take it as P1, to right atrium, which you can take it as P2. If I give this problem, can you tell me what is the flow, what is the pressure difference here? The left ventricular pressure and right atrial pressure. Can anybody tell me what will be the number here? Yes, arterial there is a lesser flow rate, very true. I am talking about only two numbers, a P1 and P2, Dr. Lakshmi. Yes, because arterioles have a drastically decreased vessel diameter as compared to the major arteries. See, we have aorta, then larger arteries, and then arterioles. So at the junction of arteries and arterioles, there is a substantial decrease in diameter, which offers greater resistance, and that offers the decreased flow rate. So even though the delta P is more, but still the diameter is so drastically changed that it offers a greater resistance here. So coming back to this point, the left 20, is it only 20? No, I don't think so. The left ventricular pressure is 120 mm of Hg, whereas right atrial pressure is 0 mm of Hg. So the pressure difference across left ventricle to the right atrium is 120. I hope you are getting this point, dear students. It's 120 mm of Hg is the delta P. Delta P is 120 mm of Hg. Am I right? And what is the flow rate? The flow rate is 5000 ml per minute. That's the flow rate. I hope you are getting this point, Dr. Rishi and Dr. Lakshmi. So let us find out the resistance across your blood vessel flow or complete blood flow. Again, 120 divided by 5000. 5000 is 5 liters. That is amount of 5 liters amount of blood flow across the vascular tree. So this will give you how much? 0 cancel, 0 cancel. Oh, just a second. My battery is low for the cell phone and I am unable to connect with you. Just give me a second. Sorry, sometimes we need to improvise in a sense. The battery gets discharged and you need to work on it again. So remember, the resistance across this vascular tree will be how much? 12 divided by 500. So again we have to make it more simpler. Say 0 cancel and 1.2. So 1.2 divided by 50 will be quite difficult right now mathematically to just repeat it again, but let it make more simpler. Say 5, we'll say 5 tens are 50 and 5 twos are 0.2, 5 twos are 10 and 5 fours are 20, isn't it? 0.24. So 10 upon 0.24, 0.24 upon 10, which will give again 0.024. So that will be the resistance across the complete arterial tree, and 0.024 mm of Hg per ml per minute. I hope you got this point clear. Yes, let me just connect with you all again. Yes, so this is the resistance across your arterial tree or arterial venous tree, complete blood flow. 120 mm of Hg is the pressure difference from left ventricle to the right atrium, and the complete blood flow you can say is a cardiac output, which is the amount of blood flowing throughout the vasculature, that is 5 liters per minute. So it is 5000 ml per minute. So 120 mm of Hg divided by 5000 gives you something around 0.024 mm of Hg per ml per minute of resistance. So resistance in arterial tree is 0.024 mm of Hg per ml per minute. Okay, here I am back again. So let me just connect with you all again on my YouTube chat box. That's the only chat box by which I can interact with you all. Sometimes it happens. It's so tricky. Yes. Yes, now it's back. We are fine. Let us go to the next calculation. Velocity of blood flow. We have studied just a blood flow. Now velocity of blood flow. Velocity of blood flow is determined by Q divided by A, where Q again indicates flow of the blood and A is a cross sectional area. The A indicates cross sectional area of the vessel through which the blood is flowing. Very simple. We all knew one thing, that is the aorta and arteries and arterioles and capillaries, they have a certain amount of cross sectional area. So the cross sectional area, if it is more, there is more lesser velocity, and if cross sectional area is less, there is more velocity, because cross sectional area corresponds to inversely corresponds to velocity. Okay, just hold on for a second. Yes, that's great. Everybody has answered on chat box. I'm so happy. Even though I was not there online for a few minutes, you have still answered everything. That's great. So is this concept clear? Is the concept of flow, pressure difference and resistance, is this concept clear? Because we are going to the next question session, that is velocity of blood flow. So velocity of blood flow depends upon what is the flow rate, that is Q, versus cross sectional area. If there is more cross sectional area, the velocity is less. If there is lesser cross sectional area, velocity is more. Now let me ask you just one important thing here. Just one important thing here. Among aorta and capillaries, which has a larger cross sectional area? I am just asking one question to all of you. Among aorta and capillaries, which one has a larger cross sectional area? Okay. Among aorta and capillaries, which one has a larger cross sectional area? That's great. Capillaries have a very, very large cross sectional area. That's why velocity of blood flow is very less in capillaries. Sorry. And the velocity of blood flow is very high. No, the cross sectional area is very high for capillaries and very less for aorta. Cross sectional area is very high for capillaries and very less for aorta. So aorta will have sorry, aorta will have a very huge cross sectional area, and capillaries will have a very less cross sectional area, and capillaries will have a very large cross sectional area. So let us solve again one more problem. You are given with the cardiac output of 5 liters per minute, that is again 5000 ml per minute is the flow rate, which is Q, and the diameter of aorta is given as 14 millimeter. Now diameter and cross sectional area is something different. 14 millimeter diameter, whereas cross sectional area, the area of a circle area is given by pi r square. So 22 by 7 into 14, r square is, r is 17, 7 into 7. I hope you are getting this concept clear. So 1, 7 and 7 is cancelled. 22 into 7 is how much? 22 into 7 gives you 7 to the 14, 1 carry, 7 to 14, 154. So 15.4 millimeter square. 15.4 millimeter square. Did you got this point clear, dear students? You are not given with the cross sectional area, you are given with the diameter of the aorta. So diameter is not a cross sectional area. To have a cross sectional area, you need to find out the area of a square, area of a circle. Area of a circle is pi r square. So pi r square is pi into 7 because 14 is diameter, so the radius will be 7. So 22 by 7 into 7 into 7 will give the radius. So 7 and 7 is cancelled. 22 into 7 gives you what? 15.54. So 5000 divided by 15.4 will give the velocity of the blood flow. Let us try to solve it out once again. Okay, let us try to solve it out once again. We have got a trend of upcoming mathematical questions here. I am also solving with you all, because these things we need to solve every time whenever you find such questions. Yes, that's how much? 324 ml per minute per millimeter square. The velocity of blood in aorta is 324 ml per minute per millimeter square. That is the velocity of blood flow. I hope you got this point, dear students. Yes, Dr. Rishi, Dr. Lakshmi, Dr. Anastasia. Yes. Yes. So 324 is the ml per minute per millimeter square is the velocity of blood flow through aorta. For capillaries it is 1000 times less. What we say? For capillaries it is 1000 times less. Means if you go for capillaries, it is something 0.324 ml per minute per millimeter square. Means for aorta it is 300, for capillaries it is 0.3. Yes, so this is the way you can easily remember, or you can just, once you solve it, the concept gets fixed in your mind. The velocity is directly proportional to the flow rate, whereas inversely proportional to cross sectional area. The arteries or arterioles or capillaries with very high cross sectional area will have very less velocity, and the capillary, or you can say the vessels with very less cross sectional area will have a very high velocity. In that sense, aorta has a very high velocity and capillaries has a very less velocity. Yes. So this is what I wanted to explain for cardiac calculation. First one was the flow rate, which is proportional to the pressure difference versus resistance, and velocity, which is proportional to the flow rate versus cross sectional area. The following diagram gives you the comparison of cross sectional area of various vessels. It's very small vessel, the cross sectional area is 1 centimeter square. Very large vessel, the cross section is 100 centimeter square. So from 1 to 100 centimeter square, look at the velocity. The velocity is as high as 100 times more, because 0.1 into 100 will give you 10. So if the cross sectional area changes by 1:100, the velocity changes by 100 times. That's a very typical or peculiar situation with respect to cross sectional area. I'll repeat once again. The cross sectional area, if it is increased by 100 times, the cross sectional area, if it is increased by 100 times, the velocity almost decreases by 100 times. If the cross sectional area increases by 100 times, the velocity decreases by 100 times. Okay. Yes, that's great, Dr. Lakshmi, since you have been replying so nicely. I am really happy with that. Yes, great. So moving on to the next point, a Poiseuille equation which everybody wants to understand but are unable to get a complete meaning of it. The Poiseuille equation is an equation which actually is responsible for flow of blood. The Poiseuille equation is principally made for flow of blood, but it has been modified to find out the resistance to the blood flow. So resistance to the blood flow depends upon which is directly proportional to the viscosity. The resistance is directly proportional to viscosity and length, because as the length increases, the resistance will be increased, because more the length, more the blood is going to interact with the peripheral vessels, and more the blood interact with the vessel wall, there is more resistance. So increasing the length will increase the resistance, increase in the viscosity will increase the resistance, whereas resistance is inversely proportional to the diameter. Lesser the diameter, more the resistance, more the diameter, lesser the resistance. Radius of blood vessel. Radius of blood vessel. So in the equation you can see resistance is proportional to 8 nu L, which indicates 8 is a you can say a constant. Nu indicates viscosity, L indicates length. Inversely proportional to pi r raised to 4, which indicates radius of the vessel wall. So as the radius decreases, the resistance will increase. As it increases, the resistance will decrease. As the length increases, the resistance also increases. As the viscosity increases, the resistance also increases. Let us take the situation for all three of this. Length of the vessel. The length of the vessel increases from when the vessels go from arteries to capillaries, because capillaries, they share a huge length. Lengthwise the capillary is very, very huge. But as compared to viscosity, the viscosity in the capillaries decreases significantly. The viscosity in the capillaries decreases significantly. So as the length increases in the capillaries, the primary force for resistance, diameter is very, very less, and hence the resistance is very, very high. The resistance in the capillaries is reduced because of the single cell flow of RBCs in the capillaries. When the RBCs they flow from capillaries, the RBCs they bend. Instead of having a complete spherical shape, the RBCs they bend and they become slightly oval shape. This bending of RBCs, or you can say this folding of, they fold the RBCs, they fold like a roll. The rolling of RBCs, they roll, they form a roll themselves, decreases their almost diameter, and they flow very smoothly across the vessels. So this is one of the way to decrease the resistance across the capillaries, because capillary is such a huge amount of network that causes increased resistance. Moving on to the next calculation, that is the Reynolds number, which is very much important for blood pressure. We all have heard about Reynolds number concept. The concept says that if the Reynolds number is less than 2000, there is no sound which is heard for recording of blood pressure, because when we go for auscultatory method of blood pressure, there is a concept of auscultatory method of blood pressure where we always have, there is a, I hope I am audible and visible to everyone here, because I am unable to see any reply from the chat box. Are you all online, dear students? Yes. Are you online? I am unable to see any activity on the chat box because it's a live interactive session, so I want you all to interact with me. Oh great, Dr. Rakesh Yadav. Nice. Since you have replied, means yes, we are online, we are interacting with each other. Okay. So yes, thank you, Lakshmi. Yes. Great. Yes, Ananya, very right. Blood flow is laminar. That's what we are discussing right now. That's great. I want you to be interactive, Sally. Yes, sir. Hello, thumbs up. It keeps the session alive. Yes, Rakesh. Thank you. So, now coming back to the situation here. See, if the Reynolds number is what? It's a number which is dependent on density of blood flow, diameter of vessel wall, velocity of blood flow, and the viscosity of blood. I repeat once again. Reynolds number is a number which determines the conversion from laminar to the turbulent flow. It is a turbulent flow which creates a sound. Okay, but to create a sound, there should be a particular amount of energy in terms of number which should be possible to create that sound. The laminar flow will not always create a sound unless until it has that much of an amount of Reynolds number. So the blood pressure recording method has got one flaw in terms of hypertensive patient, that is called as auscultatory gap. So in order to remove auscultatory gap, or to avoid the problem of oscillatory gap, we have to obey certain rules of recording blood pressure. Can anybody tell me what rule do you follow to avoid the complication of oscillatory gap? How do you avoid? Which method you follow first? There are two methods, a palpatory and an auscultatory. So which method do you follow first, a palpatory or auscultatory? To avoid auscultatory gap or silent gap, you always go for palpatory method first and then auscultatory. Very good, Dr. Ananya. So why? Because in palpatory method you can still feel the flow, even though if you don't hear the sound, you can still feel the flow, and that gives a confirmation that the arteries have not occluded. See, blood pressure depends upon what? You increase the pressure of the cuff to such an extent that the blood flow does not exist. You completely close the artery. But if you just rely on the sound, problem is you will not hear the sound and you will say, oh, sound is not heard, means arteries have closed. But no, the Reynolds number have not crossed 3000 number, and that's why no sound is heard. So to avoid this confusion, you just feel the pulse here. If the pulse is felt, yes, then you can say, oh, cuff has not occluded the artery yet, you have to further increase the pressure. So you will keep on increasing the cuff pressure till the pulsation disappears. So you have to first go for palpatory method and then you should go for auscultatory method in order to avoid auscultatory gap. Now why it happens? People with very hypertension, people with too high hypertensive, too much of hypertension, there is certain calculation which falls in such a way that if the Reynolds number is less than 2000, the flow is laminar and no sound is heard. Between 2000 to 3000, between 2000 to 3000, please remember, the flow changes. The flow changes to turbulent. So you may or you may not be able to hear the sound. The flow changes to turbulent. From 2000 to 3000, the flow is changing to turbulent flow, and you may or you may not be able to hear the sound because it is just changing its pattern of flow. But more than 3000, the flow is definitely turbulent and you can definitely hear the sound. So beyond 3000, yeah, you can have this sound being heard. This equation determines what? It helps in understanding what? You can see the Reynolds number is directly proportional to the density of the vessel. More the density, more is the chance of having a Reynolds number, increase in Reynolds number. Diameter of blood vessel, more the diameter, more is the chance of having Reynolds number increasing. And velocity, more the velocity, more is the chance of having increase in the Reynolds number. Now once you tie a cuff, the problem, the things happening are, the changes which are happening are, when you tie the cuff and when you increase the pressure, we are decreasing the diameter. When you decrease the diameter, remember, when you decrease the diameter, the resistance increases, and the resistance increases, the flow decreases, and the flow decreases, the velocity decreases. So the velocity of the blood flow decreases. I hope you are getting this point first. As you keep on cuff pressure increasing, you are decreasing the diameter, and when you decrease the diameter, decreasing diameter will increase the resistance, and increasing the resistance will decrease the flow, and decreasing the flow will decrease the velocity. First point. Second point, what about the density? Density. The density of blood flow also decreases. Why? Because at this point of time, the blood is like a non-Newtonian fluid. So the RBCs, they keep on rolling out, and that decreases the density because there is more of plasma and lesser of RBC. So relatively the density decreases. Diameter also decreases. All the three parameters they decrease with respect to increasing the cuff pressure. Now when you compare all these changes, with respect to viscosity, there is a tremendous decrease in the viscosity, as compared to all the other parameters, and that which causes increase in the Reynolds number and the turbulence. I repeat once again, because as the diameter keeps on decreasing, the velocity decreases, the density also decreases, but the overall output is there is a tremendous decrease in viscosity as compared to all other parameters, and that what causes increase in the Reynolds number. So Reynolds number is inversely proportional to viscosity but directly proportional to all other parameters. If your blood is more thin, as in case of pregnancy, we have a higher chances of increased Reynolds number, that is you will find a blood pressure to be more, or you can say turbulence in the blood increases when the blood becomes more and more thin, or you can say the viscosity of blood decreases. So these are the calculations which I was planning to discuss in today's session. I hope we have been able to cover all the important calculations for the day. The one was flow rate, other one was velocity, third was Reynolds number, Poiseuille equation, and the fourth is Reynolds number. Yes, is this all clear to your dear students? Yes. Great. So please do join me today again at 8 p.m. If you are on a Plus subscription, I would request you all to please join me on Plus. Why? Because on Plus course I am starting with the application of physiology in intensive care medicine, and I would just like to show you one of the very important thing. If you are not a Plus subscriber, you can just next session is tomorrow at 6 p.m. once again, Dr. Lakshmi. Yes, tomorrow at 6 p.m. again I have one more session on YouTube, and that is with the live quiz in physiology, with the topic is GIT. Just let me introduce you one more thing. We are coming up with an iconic subscription in which you can subscribe for both Unacademy as well as Prep Ladder subscription, both of them at one price. If you go for iconic subscription, you have access of two of the best learning platforms, Unacademy as well as Prep Ladder, live class teaching from Unacademy, and pre-recorded lectures and question bank 2.0 from Prep Ladder. On Unacademy you have an advantage of interacting with the teachers live, getting your doubts solved, requesting any session which you want to get repeated, anything which you want to learn. And Prep Ladder is that everything is available in advance to you for your disposal, for your learning. So but this subscription is at least the minimum duration for this subscription is 1 year. If you go for iconic, so if you are planning for next year examination after 12 months, this is the best you can have right now. You also get all the updated versions of Prep Ladder once you subscribe at iconic. The minimum plan is for 12 months, and the cost is 49.5. This is the cost which you have to pay for 12 months, but it is combined cost, so you can say it's very much good. But if you find it still higher, you can no issues, you can just use my code Vijay Gupta YT, so you get again a 10% discount, and it will drop down to something 44,000 or 45,000. If you are not going for Plus iconic, then you can go for, if you're not going for iconic, you can go for Plus subscription, where you can avail for 1 month, 3 months or 6 months of subscription, and that will again give a benefit of Unacademy live learning, like me teaching all the way live from all the days, and you can have 1 month, 3 months or 6 months depending upon your choice, your schedule. All the things I will do you, live classes, live test and quizzes, batch courses, structured schedule courses, and we also go for regular test series like Unacademy NEET PG daily T20 test was conducted in the last 2 months, and we have also grand test analysis for all these sessions. So you try to appear for this test. Do subscribe to Unacademy. Initially I would request you to go for first free subscription, which makes you eligible for all the free classes and also YouTube sessions. If you get your schedule all designed, then you can go for Plus subscription, which will give you all the lectures, all the educators, all the subjects at the same cost. You don't have to pay different for any other. If you subscribe for physiology, you are subscribing ultimately for all the subjects. Like you don't have to supply for one subject. Once you subscribe for 1 month, for that month all the subjects are available to you. It is not only for one subject you subscribe. The subscription is on the time period, not on the subject basis. So you can once you subscribe for 1 month, you have subscribed for 1 month for all the subjects simultaneously. It's easy. Yeah, special classes. Yes, Dr. Lakshmi is going to be there this Saturday. Special class which will be on again. The special class is on physiology application in the intensive care medicine. So today's plus class is actually on that only, the physiology, application of physiology in intensive care medicine or intensive care unit. The topic I am looking for is, today I am going to teach topic is PEEP, positive and expiratory pressure. There is too much of physiology in this system, so I will be teaching PEEP in today's plus session. And this Saturday I am taking a special class. Yeah, and tomorrow you can join me again at 6 p.m. for live quiz. Tomorrow live quiz. Yes. So that's all for now. I would like to take a leave. Thank you all for watching. It's really I'm really enjoyed teaching you all. Do join me tomorrow also at 6 p.m. and on Saturday for special class. And also if you are on a plus subscription, you can join me today at 8 p.m. for plus course. Yes, that's all for now. Thank you all. Thank you very much.